This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the new media production studio. The lead stories tonight: when AI overrules the nurse caring for you, what's going to happen? AI shakes up the way we work in 3 key industries. Website owners say traffic is plummeting after a Facebook logo change. 8 days later, K-Ben, Lemmy, the landed gentry in the rise of the Threadiverse. I want to welcome you to episode 1675 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, June 19th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider, by becoming a value for value participant, or just participating by contributing via PayPal. I want to welcome all the new listeners to the show. Make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. When you're over on the website, make sure you follow or subscribe to the podcast. The links are right there on the website. Also, get signed up for the newsletter. You can join our chat room at geeknews.chat or our Discord channel available in the show notes. You can always contact me via email, geeknews@gmail.com, or on Twitter @geeknews. My Mastodon address is very simple as well, @geeknews@geeknews.chat. Of course, you can always follow on Facebook. All partner shows are linked at geeknewscentral.com. When you go over to geeknewscentral.com, you can get connected to our partner shows. And that includes the new media show hosted by myself and Mr. Rob Greenlee, the Gadget Professor, with the Professor Don Bain. And of course, the GNC Week in Review with Kirk, our executive producer, and his co-host, Scott. Definitely check those shows out at geeknewscentral.com. Again, that's a place where all the content originates for this show. The place to find me, place to subscribe to your podcast consumption app of choice. Of course, again, this show does have the longest running continuous sponsor of podcasts. That's our good friends at GoDaddy. Again, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy is the page to go, and you can lock in savings. Our June deals are a little bit different. Savings start here. You can start there with that link, or if for just a penny, you can get a .com for a brand new domain name, or $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain. Again, $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or $2.99 a month managed WordPress hosting, again, for the first year with a free domain. The two best, absolute, unequivalent best deals available on the market today for hosting, and of course, a penny for your first year of a domain name. You cannot beat that. You get a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. That's a 1-month free trial. Again, savings begin when you get over to geeknewscentral.com. And really, how much do you save on GoDaddy? Well, for domain name, you save $8.48. You get the domain name essentially for free. And the hosting accounts are really the best deal out there. The $1.99 a month economy hosting, the $2.99 a month managed WordPress hosting. And you're supporting a small team, a very, very small team of independent content creators. You're supporting my writers at geeknewscentral.com. Everything that we do to put content on the website, create this podcast, and keep the traffic flowing is all available at geeknewscentral.com / again, by locking in savings at GoDaddy is a place to go to keep this show and keep us alive and online and running. I want to thank you for your ongoing support. I want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at the podcast. So I tell you, Tuesday, drove down to Columbus and spent a full day kind of getting the office ready. It really needed some cleanup. Really, we had not been in there much over the past year. Just a couple of team members. Wednesday and Thursday, 2 absolutely full days of strategizing, planning, laying out really our agenda for the next 6 to 9 months. Really had it was spectacular. Had great team involvement, great discussions. It was deep in the weeds. Come back here. I'll be honest. I came back Saturday and just was a little bit overwhelmed by the full week. And today really took time to get caught up on email and everything that's been going on. I'm still kind of decompressing from the time with the team. Friday we spent really. It kind of started a little each day, and on Friday I loaded my car to the gills. There wasn't a room left in the vehicle, not an inch. I brought a standing table back. I brought a cabinet. I brought gear. I brought monitors. I brought a printer. It's just on and on and on. And then Mike Dell, my VP of customer support, and taking care of that, he basically loaded his vehicle up. Actually, he brought the standing table to me, along with a filing cabinet and another table that was one of our boardroom tables that is here kind of off the side. We had to take it apart to get it in a vehicle. So really packed 2 full vehicles up. And then other team members are taking stand-up desks. So we're really down to one L-shaped desk, a Jack and Jill desk setup, 2 of those, a beautiful, absolutely beautiful team table that 8 people can get around. It's a raised table with stools. Again, if you're in the Columbus area or within striking distance, we got this stuff priced to move. Just drop me an email. If you really within a 2 to 3 hour range of Columbus, we really got some great deals for you. So in the end, I will be going back in late July to finish up closing out and bringing some more stuff back, and bring some chairs back. Our studio table, we decided not to sell. I'm going to bring that back. A couple of office chairs. So really, we'll have a pretty full load coming back once again from all that. But I tell you, we'll be moving some stuff into storage. So it was a very, very full couple of days. So I figured 2.5 days or so, we should be able to close everything out in the office, and as long as we get the furniture sold. If not, then it gets a little more complicated because we'll have to move some of that stuff into storage, which I'm hoping we don't have to do. I hope we have success. All our standing desks are basically gone. $1,500 value. We were letting go at 25%. You just really, these Jack and Jill desk and a L-shaped desk and a cabinet and some miscellaneous stuff is available. And again, if you have striking distance within Columbus, Ohio, let me know. We can hook you up with some great deals. Hey, if you're on Facebook watching live, make sure you say hello, say check in. Appreciate it when you do. But anyway, got a full line of content today. It's June 19th. I guess they call it June 10th. I don't know how 19. I don't know. There's a different pronunciation for it. I know a lot of you were off today. It was normal business hours for us, but so content was a little teeny itty bitty, a little bit thin. So Kurt dug through stuff. I dug through stuff, and we got a great lineup. Can't believe it, as much stuff as we found. But really want to start this story off with the Wall Street Journal post talking about when AI overrules the nurse caring for you. And what it really is AI is raising difficult questions about who makes a call in health crises, the human or the machine. And she basically said she's an oncology nurse. She relies on her observation skills to make life or death decisions. A sleepy patient with dilated pupils could have had a hemorrhagic stroke. An elderly patient with foul-smelling breath could have had abdominal obstruction. So an alert said her patient in the oncology unit had sepsis. She was sure it was wrong. She said, I've been working with cancer patients for 15 years, so I know a septic patient. And when I see one, I knew this patient wasn't septic. The alert correlates to elevated white blood cell count with septic infection. It would have taken into account this particular patient had leukemia, which can cause similar blood counts. But again, the AI logarithm was based on AI, and it triggered the alert when it detects patterns that match previous patients with sepsis. The logo didn't explain its decision, but hospital rules require nurses to follow protocol when a patient is flagged for sepsis. While she can override the AI model, she gets doctor approval. She said she faces disciplinary action if she's wrong. So she followed the order and drew blood from the patient, even though that could expose him to infection and run up his bill. When a logarithm says your patient looks septic, I can't know why. I just have to do it, said Beebe, who is a representative of the California Nurses Association. As she suspected, the logo was wrong. She says, I'm not demonizing the tech, she said, but I feel moral distress when I know the right thing to do and I can't do it. AI and other high-tech tools in most hospitals are raising difficult questions about who makes the decision in a crisis, human or machine. The tech, which analyzes massive amount of data with a speed beyond human capacity, are making extraordinary advances in medicines, from improving diagnosis of heart conditions to predicting protein structures that could speed drug recovery. When it is used along humans to help assess, diagnose, and treat patients, AI has shown powerful results. At the same time, the tool can be flawed. So, in a survey of 1,042 registered nurses published by the National Nurses United Union, 24% of the respondents say they've been prompted by a clinical algorithm to make choices they believe were not in the best interest of patients based on clinical judgment and scope of practice. About issues such as patient care and staffing, of those, 17% said they were permitted to override the decision, while 31% weren't allowed, and 30% say needed a doctor or supervisor's permission. So, makes you wonder, what happens when an AI kills you? At the same time, nurses are 43% say they're burned out. Jeff Breslin, registered nurse at Sparrow Hospital in Lansing, Michigan, a well-respected hospital in this state, has been working in Level 1 Trauma Center since 1995. He helps train nurses and students on what signs to look to assess and critically or severely injured patients quickly. He says you get to a point in the profession where you can walk into a patient's room, look at them, and know this patient is in trouble. While their vital signs might be normal, there are thousands of things that we need to take into account. Does he exhibit signs of confusion, difficulty breathing, and feeling impending doom, or that something isn't right? But Sparrow uses logarithms to alert nurses about changes in patients' conditions. Over the past several years, he's noticed that newer digitally native nurses often trust the logo over their own observation skills. If new nurses over-rely on AI, you're not going to have the same assessment skills to look at a patient and know. It's just like me. Was I doing my job in the Navy? When I was flying, I almost would get a sixth sense on something I was looking at. I could almost look at something and know, hey, this is something we need to look at further, or let's move on. And I'm sure that's the way it is in many, many professions. But it makes you begin to wonder. When an AI overrules the nurse caring for you that has a lifetime of experience, makes you wonder just a little bit. So I'm really curious what all you think about this type of activity. And I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Hey, Rick, thanks for checking in to say hi. Appreciate it on Facebook. So what do you think? Should your nurse be overruled by AI, or do you like that an AI, a logarithm, is looking over you? At the same time, according to FT.com, AI is shaking up the way we work in three key industries. Lawyers are having a field day with this thing, and they actually have written special logos, models to help them in the law sector. They say they have to back everything up, unlike these idiots we talked about in the last show. They have to make sure the information is valid, but lawyers are just, they're going hog wild with AI. At the same time, filmmaking. Screenwriters are striking more fears that AI could reduce available work. Dubbing technology could expand the reach of foreign films. Potential upsides for actors include hiring out digital doubles. So the film industry is up in arms. And, of course, coding. Matter of fact, I talked with my team quite a little bit about, have you used code? Have you used AI? And they have, and only do they use it, have you used it just a few times to get a little bit of testing in. Generative AI in certain conditions can suggest lines of code that programmers can run and test. I'm going to tell you what really blew me away. And it was on, and I never had tested this, was Magellan AI. Not Magellan. Let me look. It's called Midjourney. Midjourney. Oh my goodness. I've never used Midjourney before. I'm not a graphics person. But tonight's album art for this show, I'm going to make with Midjourney based upon the topic that I pick. And you let me know what you think about this episode's artwork. I'm not going to throw text in it. I'm just going to use the art. And let me know if you think Midjourney did a good job. Amazing what can be done. So anyway, AI is shaking things up all over the place. And I think we've had enough articles about this already to realize that. At the same time, sites like mine at geeknesscentral.com, I battle for every piece of traffic I get. And I've always said, don't build your castle on rented land. And website owners are saying that traffic is plummeting, especially news and sports sites, after Facebook made a change and was not surfacing as many articles in their content. This is what Google has done to us as well. This change to Facebook logo in May caused a dramatic drop in traffic to news and media websites. Is my website a media website? Well, yes and no. It's news and media, right? In a troubling change to an increasingly frail digital news business where companies have little choice but rely on social media's biggest gatekeeper. Again, a gatekeeper. Publishers say they deserve transparency with it. As with similar changes in the past, there's been no communications from Meta. Well, this has been the story with Google as well. Clicks from Facebook have been declining for about a year because they want you to stay on the website. They don't want you to leave. EchoBox collects data from more than 2,000 publishers worldwide across Facebook clients. The share of traffic coming from Facebook fell 50% from the same time last year. Unexpected turbulence in social media traffic is partly to blame for recent flurry of business collapses. Bankruptcy filings at Vice Media, shuttering of BuzzFeed News, all are basically traffic driven. Traffic is down, subs are down, video views are down. But I'm here to tell you, podcast listens are up. This audience is growing. Why? Because here's what's happening in the media space. You guys are clicking off. You're clicking off major media. You're going and watching TikTok. You're watching stuff on YouTube. You're listening to podcasts. You're abandoning by the droves mainstream media. And some of you are giving up Facebook, which is fine because you are subscribed to this show and you get your show via a podcast app. Podcasting is here to stay, and yet I'm here to talk just a little bit to you tonight about the dangers. I know that you're listening to podcasts and watching podcasts on YouTube. The question is why? If you're watching on YouTube and you think it's a podcast, you need to ask on those YouTube channels, why is this podcast not available via the app that I like listening to pods or watching podcasts in? I don't really care where you watch or listen to this show. I don't. But I want you to know that because this show is a true podcast, has an RSS feed that basically supplies the content to all the different sites, with the exception of YouTube. You get this content directly passed through. You hear everything I want you to hear because nothing is cached. At Google, the content is cached. They serve to you what they want to serve to you if you're not paying for Google advertising. I make no money on YouTube views. At the same time, those of you that listen to this show know where my website is. I spend a lot of money every month to have original content on the website that I hope you visit and listen and read the content that's on the website. If we're not providing the type of content you want at geeknewscentral.com, please drop me an email. Tell me the type of content you would like to. We hope that you are subscribed to the feed, the blog feed for the website via Feedly or any other type of feed reader, or that you've got it on your active read list, because traffic to the website does matter. It helps me a great deal when you go to the website and read the content or scroll through and look at the show notes and click outbound links from the website. Many of you are signed up to our newsletter. You get the newsletter directly in your inbox. You look through the show notes, maybe click on a couple of links. That's great as well. But please understand, sites like mine survive, shows like mine survive, is because when you find something you find interesting, you link back to it in your social media post and said, listen to this from Todd, or look at this episode, or look at this article. It helps a great, great deal, because I do not want to be dependent on Facebook, Google, etc., driving all the traffic. We want you to visit the website. Yes, I know it's something unique. You don't ever visit websites anymore. Why? Why? You're missing everything that I put out and my team puts out that we think is worthy for you to listen or read to. Are you allowing Facebook to educate you? If you're a fan of this show, please visit the website. Come by once a week and get caught up on, scan the articles that we have. Click through if there's one that interests you. Come to the website once a week. Make it a purpose to do that. Because I try to drive you to listen to the show wherever you want. But this website's more than just the podcast. Unexpected turbulence, again, in social media traffic is to blame for recent flurry of business collapses. It goes into the podcasting messages. YouTube has a podcast link, but YouTube is not a podcast platform. What are podcast platforms? Where you can listen and subscribe and follow to the show in a way that you can load it up in the app, whether it be Overcast, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, which 54% of you from this show listen on Apple Podcasts. We do get a remarkable amount of traffic back to the website as well, which blows me away. There's even a couple of BlackBerry users out there still, which is even more crazy. But we know how you listen to the show. We know they're not really listening on YouTube. We know you're not listening on Spotify, because we get very little traffic on either of those platforms, besides maybe the people that find this content. So don't let us go the way of the dinosaur, because you're allowing Facebook to deliver what they think you need to read. Trust sources like mine. We're independent. We write independent commentary. All the content on the website is original. So think about that, all right? So at the same time, people are starting to figure out, all right, Reddit. Reddit is got to make money. Money is tight. Everyone has to make money right now. If you don't make money, you go out of business. There's no free money left. All the interest rates are extraordinarily high. You go out and get a loan, you're going to pay 8, 9, 10% interest on a business loan, maybe higher, 12, 13. Everything. Go look at a car financing right now. It's crazy. So these companies have to make money. So Reddit pulled their API back, said, hey, we got to charge for it. So did Twitter. They pulled it back, said, hey, you got to pay for it. This traffic costs money. And people went into war against Reddit. And I understand it. But there's alternatives just to like Mastodon. Geeknews.chat. We have a Mastodon chat instance that very few of you have taken advantage of. Most of you still hang out on Twitter, which is cool. Some of you hang out on Facebook. But geeknews.chat is where our internal communications could be coalesced. So Reddit is having a mass exodus to some new platforms. It's called Threadiverse, Kben, Lemmy, are basically open source projects that are replacements for Reddit. People have going to be launching their instances. They're taking control back of their subreddits. Why not? Quit building. We have to quit building our empires on the back of other people that make money off us. GeekNewsCentral.com there's no ads on that site from third parties except for my podcast hosting company and GoDaddy. That's it. That's the only two ads that are on my website. So, what do we want you to do? We want you to feed the beast. Go over there and look at stuff. Link to it. Quit letting Facebook, Reddit, and all these platforms dictate what you see. Take back control. So, again, Kben and Lemmy are having explosive growth. And they're early tools, and a bunch of developers are jumping in, adding moderation tools, doing all kinds of things. Because guess what? Reddit is pulling the curtain back. And it'll never be as big as Reddit. And these services will have to be rolled up and self-served. If I was to roll out something that was a Reddit replacement, I don't know what we'd use it for. But we could have our own AKA subreddit, or sub Kben, or sub Lemmy, whatever you want to call it, and attack and basically be through this open protocol like the metaverse. Fediverse, excuse me, not metaverse, Fediverse. So Threadiverse is a new term. So things are changing quickly. And we have to make sure that we control the narrative. As you're talking to other podcast listeners, please never recommend YouTube. Recommend the app you're using to listen to this show. Please do that. Don't send them to YouTube. YouTube is trying to hijack and bastardize the term podcast. We don't want that. Victims over at The Guardian, theguardian.com has a story about victims speak out over tsunami of fraud on Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, where people are losing life savings, being stolen on scams, ordering stuff that never comes. I ordered something, it's $99. I ordered it off an ad I saw on Facebook, never came. Took me about 2 months to figure it out before I went back to my credit card company and claimed fraud and had to get money back. But some people are losing millions of dollars, millions of pounds a year based upon false finance investments, all kinds of stuff. Buying clothes on Instagram that never arrived. Lost $1,600 on WhatsApp for something that was never delivered. People are getting duped. Please be careful on these platforms. I'm serious. Because there's nothing being done to shut down these fraudsters. It's too easy for them to spin something up. The latest thing is being contacted to say, hey, I got a job for you. I want to do an interview. And you have to install a weird app. It's not being done on Zoom. Maybe it's on Telegram. Maybe it's on one of these apps where it's super highly secure where they can't see what's going on. And they do this fake interview. And then they say, we're going to send you a check. And they send you an image of the check and ask you to deposit it. Then ask for you to spend money to go and pay us the people that you get a check for $2,000. And they say, hey, write a check for $2,000. That was the advance we give you for your supplies, your computer, blah, blah, blah. And like saying, the check bounces. Lots of scams out there. If it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Don't get sucked in. Don't tell them your bank account. And if you do, tell them a fake one. If they ask for your name and address, give them a fake one until you figure out to the point that maybe this is legit. If they ask you to go off some app to do a text interview, it's a scam. I've never hired someone from text. I've hired people through meet me on Zoom on Thursday at 9 a.m. Do the interview. What do you know about my company? Ask the questions. Make sure there's a dialogue going on. Don't ever think you're going to get hired via text message, okay? Hey, Steve, how you doing in Guam? Half a day? By the way, Steve, I own the domain name halfaday.com. So if you know anybody in Guam that wants to buy that domain, it is for sale. And hope you're doing well. Last time I was in Guam was 90. Oh, I flew through there one time, so in the 2000s, but it was just a layover. But last time I was there full time, I think was 94. So it's been a long, long time. NASA shares breathtaking time lapse of a video of Earth at night from space. It's awesome. It's a 4-minute video. Link will be up in the show notes for you to check out. The James Webb Telescope has uncovered the surprising source of the evolution of the early universe and why space is so clear and not so cloudy. It's more opaque and we can see through it. It's got a great article about what scientists have come up with. So if you're into that, link will be in the show notes for you to check out. NASA, on the other hand, they have found a key building block for life in a moon on Saturn. And it's very simple. It's phosphorus. The long hunt for extraterrestrials just got a big boost. Scientists discovered that phosphorus, a key building block of life, lies in the ocean beneath the icy surface of Saturn's moon, Enceladus. And of course, the Cassini probe that crashed into the gas giant in 2017, the data being reviewed all this time and published last week, determined that phosphorus, and it's a stunning discovery according to astrobiology Christopher Glenn of Southwest Research Institute. Phosphorus is a building block of DNA and RNA. So, great article on phys.org, phys.org. At the same time, SpaceX has launched a satellite to boost internet connectivity in Indonesia. So, a $540 million project intended to link up remote corners of the archipelago to the internet. Now, Indonesia is made up of lots of those small islands. And roughly 2/3 of Indonesia's 280 million population already use the internet, but connectivity is limited in far-flung, underdeveloped eastern islands of the Southeast Asian country. And satellite technology being launched by Indonesia and projects like SpaceX is definitely going to get them connected. But again, this is an Indonesian project to provide connectivity to remote corners of the country. So, first satellite has been launched. Reddit hackers demand $4.5 million in API changes and threat to leak 80 gigabits of data. Ransomware gang Black Hat is likely behind a February attack on the company. And they've captured the information, but we've seen this protest of 8,000 subreddits a week or so ago going dark. Basically, the hackers are saying, hey, reduce the API fees, or we're going to reduce this. We're going to release this data and pay the money. Well, they're not going to pay the money, and they're not going to reverse the API fees. So we'll see what they have in their hat. I don't see Reddit folding to this group. Meanwhile, the FCC is preparing to take a fresh look at internet data caps. Now, do any of you have data caps? SpaceX threatened to do data caps, but my area did not get them. I said, basically, they come back and said, hey, we're not going to impose a data cap on your account based on your area. I was watching my usage anyway. I was never going over the allotted amount that they had initially tasked with, so that's probably why. Of course, I didn't move the operation from here back to the studio, to the loft. Didn't move that. But with the notice of inquiry, the FCC would seek comment to better understand why the use of data caps continue to persist despite increased broadband needs of consumers and providers. So, who of you are under data caps? Now, we know Comcast temporarily removed data caps, but it continues to pose a 1.2 terabyte data cap on certain contracts in some U.S. regions. Charter's deal with the FCC not to impose a data cap on its Spectrum service struck when acquired Time Warner ended this year, but the company recently said has no plans to restart data caps. So they're opening a new portal. Link will be in the show notes. So anyway, are you facing data caps? If you are and it's affecting you, you may want to comment. Kind of going off the beaten path here just a little bit. Oh, Steve said surviving. We got power back after 3 weeks, but lots of load shedding. Oh man, I do not miss load shedding, Steve. Do you guys have a big typhoon come through and knock things out? I have not been paying attention. You know, I spent 37 days without power, had water the entire time because I was on the winning side, basically was because I was on a hospital line, went 37 days without power after Typhoon Omar. So yeah, I understand, but 3 weeks, oh, you must have had a typhoon. Not paying attention to what went through there, but my goodness. Whew, it sucks. I understand. Believe me, I understand, brother. All right, 8 things to consider before buying an e-reader. You guys using e-readers? I just use my iPhone or my iPad. Battery life of an e-reader is really important. File format it supports. Build quality. I hate to say it, Amazon devices are pretty doggone awesome. They really, really are. I like the Kindles. I do. I like the Kindle service as well. Microsoft, anyway, I have the link up. If you're thinking about an e-reader, I have the link up to 8 things you need to look out for. Microsoft says June Outlook outage was caused by denial of service attack. And the attack caused intermittent outages for about a day. And so anyway, the blog doesn't mention whether the company got things under control or whether attack abated on its own. But on Twitter, the Microsoft 365 status account tweeted about the outage as it occurred. Then later again that day finally seemed to get things under control, but they did not until, I guess, recently, just saying why they had a denial of service attack. Boy, the denial of service attack really can suck. An interesting hypothesis, or what scientists are proposing now, they said, where did Earth get all of its water? Well, a new theory says it was sucked up from space, from debris we picked up as our sun was forming and as Earth formed 100 million years ago. Okay, well, that's a good theory. I don't think any of us will really know, to be honest with you. In something I'm sure is not going to help a single one of us, the current administration has announced $930 million in grants to expand rural internet access. The funding will help build fiber optic networks in 35 states and Puerto Rico. Part of the Department of Commerce enabling middle mile broadband infrastructure program. The grants will fund the deployment of more than 12,000 miles of new fiber optic across 35 states, which is really nothing. The ministry said Friday expects grant recipients to invest an additional $848 million, basically one for one. And the biggest amount of money went to Alaska with how much did they get? $88 million. The average award was $26.6 million. Again, rural America is only going to be served by satellite. Most of us will never get fiber. I know that we talked about it many times. The road I'm currently living on, the closest fiber is 1.5 miles away, and the cost to bring that down the road was $13,000 if I could get 50% of the people along the road to sign up, and we couldn't at the time. So now Starlink is taking care of me. Rick says, waiting for Twitch to enforce their new ban on multi-streaming for all streamers. Well, Rick, I guess they have to figure out if we're doing it, right? Shh. Maybe I've already been banned. I don't know. Apple's taking on Apple's in a truly weird trademark battle. The company wants the rights to the image Apple. The fruit in Switzerland, one of a dozen countries where it's flexing its legal muscle. Well, how can they do this? There's companies that have had the Apple logo, specifically the First Union. The First Union Swiss is 111 years old. For most of its history, it had a symbol of a red apple with a white cross, the Swiss national flag superimposed on one of the most common fruits. But the group, the oldest and largest fruit farm organization in Switzerland, worries it may have to change its logo because Apple, the tech giant, is trying to gain intellectual property rights over depictions of apples to fruit. They say we have a hard time understanding this because it's not like they're trying to protect their bitten apple. Fruit Union Swiss director Jimmy Martelos says, referring to the company's iconic logo. Their objective here is really to own the rights to an actual apple, which for us is something that is really almost universal that should be free for everyone to use. I agree. How can you trademark an apple? It's ridiculous. Apple has made similar requests to dozens of IP authorities around the world with varying degrees of success. Authorities in Japan, Turkey, Israel, and Armenia have acquiesced Apple's quest to own IP rights to something as generic as an apple. Speaks to the dynamics of flourishing global IP rights industry, which encourages companies to keep obsessively over trademark they don't really need. Why? Come on, Apple. Be nice. If you have an account on Crypto.com, well, apparently, Crypto.com, the exchange endorsed by Hollywood actor Matt Damon, deploys internal teams to trade tokens for profit. The latest sign of potential conflicts of interest in the digital assets industry. The Singapore-based group, one of the top 10 crypto marketplaces in the world, operates proprietary trading and market-making teams, according to 5 people with direct knowledge of the matter. In most markets, exchange match buyers with sellers at the most competitive, transparent price. Market making and prop trading are usually conducted by separate private companies, but this is not the case. And this is why U.S. regulators have been clamping down on similar activities at other digital exchanges, including Beyonce, the world's biggest crypto exchange, with 13 charges, including using a trading firm owned by the CEO to engage in manipulative trading, artificially inflated the platform's trading volume. So it might be time to leave Crypto.com. This story next one is really crazy. It's from The Block, theblock.co. And I actually read it twice, and I still don't understand all of it. There's a phishing frenzy going on. School kids are stealing millions of dollars of NFTs to buy Roblox skins. Now, NFTs, in my opinion, are worthless. But I know a lot of people are buying NFTs. So there's a new term called NFT drainers. NFT drainers like Inferno and Venom are commonly used to carry out phishing attacks involving compromised Discord servers and Twitter accounts. These so-called drainers have been used to steal $73 million from more than 32,000 wallets, leaving 900 compromised Discord servers in their wake. Take the case of Orbiter Finance. Last month, a supposed journalist claiming to be from crypto news site contacted one of its Discord moderators and asked them to fill in a form. The moderator didn't realize this simple act would hand over the control of their Discord service. Once inside, the criminals froze other admins' control over the server and restricted the ability for the community members to send messages. They posted an announcement for a fake airdrop, sending everyone to a phishing website designed to steal their NFTs. It worked. In total, they stole $1 million worth of NFTs and tokens in a flash, while the team could only watch. And what are these kids doing? These are teenagers mostly doing this. And again, they're using this. 95% of them are kids below the age of 18, said a pseudonymous security researcher who works on trust and safety team at NFT marketplace OpenSea. And he's been talking to a few of them. They've been buying gift cards. They've been gambling. Some are paying for vehicles they can't even drive yet. The exploiters are trying to cover the tracks by paying people in lower income countries to use their personal details to register on exchanges, trying to hide the trail as they cash out. But he said at least some of them should have been caught by now. That's why the perpetrators think they can get away with such attacks. They feel invincible. They have God mode, and no one can touch them. So again, the rise of NFT drainers. And this is an article that goes on and on. And if you own NFTs or have a crypto wallet, be careful. Cold storage, my friends, is really the only way you can 100% guarantee the safety of your crypto over time. Don't keep all your crypto in a wallet, in a single wallet. Be careful what you're clicking on, please, or you're going to end up with no money. So, anyway, for all of you that commented tonight, I thank you so much. Thank you much for being here. As always, my email address is geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. We have been lit and live. Those of you been watching on basically on one of the new podcasting apps at podcastapps.com, we want to thank you for your ongoing dedication to using one of those apps. And basically, oh, what happened here? I got to click on something. I'm trying to get the page loaded. I want to thank all of you for trying these new podcast apps out, because it really makes a big difference. It really does. And we continue to receive Satoshis by the minute. The leader currently that's sending the most sats to me in live streaming is Weather_Brian. Thank you so much. As you listen to the show, when you live stream the show, you're sending sats to the podcast. I appreciate it. If you have a value for value enabled podcast, if you're a podcaster, I will do 100 sats a minute to you. If you just send me an email and tell me what your show is, I'll listen to your podcast. Go over to podcastapps.com. I think there's 5 or 6 apps now that are supporting live and value for value. Pocket Cast is getting close to a whole bunch of stuff. But still, Fountain is the app I use the most. There's lots of cool stuff coming. It's a very exciting time to be a listener in a podcasting space if you're using something other than one of those legacy podcast apps. I know most of you listen on Apple Podcasts. Listen to my show on Fountain. Please do it. Listen over there. Give it a try. At some point very soon, I'm going to enable you to earn money at a higher rate while you listen to this show on that app. I'm actually going to pay you to listen on Fountain. What do you think about those bananas? You'll earn Satoshis that you can support other shows. I want you guys to understand the value of this. Podcastapps.com is the place to go. But with that, I want to thank each and every one of you that have been an insider. They continue to contribute $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25 a month, or your one-time donations on PayPal. It is greatly appreciated. Those sustaining donations keep this show going. It's fantastic that you do that. Those of you that are supporting our sponsor, GoDaddy, I appreciate it when you do that. That keeps the show rolling, keeps me in business here, keeps the light on, keeps my insurance on, pays electric, gas bill, all that other stuff. It costs me $37 a month, even if I use no gas, just to have the gas turned on in this building. And electricity, well, it is what it is. We're in the summer months. Air conditioning is on today, or I would cook in here. So electricity bill is going to be a couple $100 a month. Rent, all that stuff. I have a new landlord. So it's all part of the value for value you provide to the show. If you get value out of it, please consider supporting the podcast. There's other ways to support the show. It's with time and talent. Some of you create album art for the show. Some of you submit articles. That's all part of time and talent, or your treasure. Time, talent, or treasure. Feel free to support the show. Be part of our Ohana. Join the geeknews.chat. Apply to be part of our Mastodon community. I want to thank all of you for being here. I'll be back with you on Thursday for another edition of the Geek News Central podcast. No, I do have to go to my daughter's baby shower, but I think I'll still be able to do a show on July 6th. I definitely will be flying out the morning of the 7th and then coming back the 9th. So to be quick down and back, I got to go out to Washington State, and my son's going to be there. One of my sons is going to be there. And my daughter obviously is going to be there. Maybe some other family members are going as well. Some people are still on the fence, but got a baby due September 28th. So my daughter is due in September, right around the time of the podcast awards. So I'll probably be going out after the baby comes, and babies are unpredictable anyway, and when they come, but we'll figure that out. But again, I want to thank you all for being here, being part of the family, and I'll be back with you on Thursday for another edition of the Geekness Central podcast. Everyone take care, be safe, take care of one another, and thanks for watching the show. And those who've been live, appreciate for your commentary tonight. It's been greatly appreciated. Everyone, see you next time. We'll take care. Let's see you on the Geekness Central podcast on Thursday. Bye-bye.